All right, so then we're gonna just say welcome to that fellowship show. That.
You keep saying that.
That.
With a D.
That. Yeah. This is new to me, Dacia. Okay, you stepping it up. Okay, all right. You know what I mean? We came from the bottom, now we're here. Calm down. Okay. So obviously, I should introduce myself first because I'm the host. All right, and then I'm gonna do you last because you're the boss. I just want to make sure. All right, okay. And Amory, don't look at me when I say that because I feel like she's on me about that. Okay. Tell me. Okay. Welcome to that fellowship show. I am your host today. My name is Terrence Hart, and here with us we have Amory, which is a self-entrepreneur, and we have the boss lady of Our Room magazine, Dacia Martin. On this podcast, we talk about fellowshipping, about real-life topics with God existing in real life and the meaning from different perspectives. And today we're talking about self-love. I'm working with you, girl. I thank you for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Of course.
I'm not going to let you down. You know I never do.
I believe you.
Never do.
I'm like, no, I'm just gonna.
So self-love. Terrence.
I'm sorry, not to?
Yeah, of course. No,
the
I'm just
host.
kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Yeah, you know,
I'm
you're
gonna
supposed to
talk.
be
You're the host with the most.
The hostess with the mostest.
Okay, so how do
I
you...
mean, just for the most part, like when you
Because I'm the host, I get you.
when you thought about this topic, what were you thinking about?
I was thinking about self-love. I mean, I remember me growing up, you know, and I always was just, obviously I was a popular kid. I knew a lot of people.
Okay.
A lot.
Obviously.
He's a
lot of
celebrity.
people. I was like everywhere, and you know, as I grew up and I got older, I realized like, whoa, like I'm doing a lot for other people, but I'm not even thinking about myself. And then I think that's when I went to Job Corps, and it really, really, really hit me. Like I was literally just, you know, helping people and not even helping myself. Like I didn't know my own worth, but I knew everybody else's worth. So I think self-love is really important, and that's when I started to like know myself again. Obviously, I was growing up. And I was going through a lot, you know, in my family, and I never really sat down and was like, hey, you know, I love myself, or I need this, or I like that. I never really, none of that.
Yeah.
It was just go with anybody I can find, and that's all I knew for a long time.
Do you feel like you found like security in having that many people be your friend and know your name? Like you felt like being popular at the time was sufficient enough for you?
Yeah. I mean, it was easier for people to, it was easier for me just to, I mean, I'm not a shy person, so that's probably what it is too. And I always talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But then I feel like the more people you know, it just becomes more, you just feel more alone. Because you just have all these people, but no one's really like listening to you.
Right.
They just know you as that person, like, oh, he's funny, and that's what they knew me as. You know, loud, funny, always making jokes.
Always
just, I'll tell you anything right to your face. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. And that's all they really knew, but they never knew that I, you know, actually had feelings. And I never showed that side of me ever, as you can remember.
Yeah, but do you think that you even knew that side of you?
No, I didn't. I did not know nothing. The only thing I knew is to laugh and have fun. That's all I really knew. I never really thought about that type of stuff when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I was always involved at the Boys and Girls Club, so I never even really had time.
Yeah.
Not until I got to Job Corps when I was like separated, like what Pastor talked about in church today. Separation, and when you separate yourself, you know, you can find out a lot of stuff about yourself that you literally have no idea that you even thought you had.
That's very true.
Once people put an image on you, you know what I mean, everybody knows you as that.
Right.
Then
you think that you have to wear that. You think that you have to wear that that title, that name.
And so sometimes you have to literally dig inside yourself and say, hey, you know, I love myself enough to get myself together. You know what I mean? Because no one can really, you know, love yourself but yourself. So that's why you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself. There's no other way.
Yeah. What about for you, Anne-Marie? Like what was being introduced to self-love like for you?
Well, after growing up and spending most of my life catering to other people and their wants and stuff. And having children at the prime age of 18 when I was still trying to figure myself out, and giving all of me to my children was now that I'm trying to realize that I have to take care of myself.
Right.
And that if I can't take care of myself, I can't take care of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been my main goal since last year. I started a couple of Facebook pages and stuff, and trying to do things where help improve other people and how they feel about themselves while improving myself.
Mm-hmm.
And taking that time out to myself, or for myself rather.
Right.
And just recognizing that I'm also human and I need to care about me,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's not a selfish thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Do you guys think like your coming to Jesus moment, which was it a real moment, not just like a state, like not like a term that everybody uses, but y'all's coming to Jesus moment, y'all think that was a big step in self-love? Do you think that happened before you realized that you needed to have love for yourself?
Yeah. For me, it was my relationship with God came before I realized that I needed to take care of myself.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it happens before.
Yeah. Yours happened before.
Yeah.
So before you came to church, you was like, man, I need to.
Yeah. But even when that happened to me in Job Corps, it was, God was, he was involved, I would never forget that day. You know what I mean? I went to my dorm and I cried, and I just literally fell right in front of the door of my dorm room, and I just yelled Jesus. And this is when it all, for my journey personally, this is when it all began.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always knew the Lord. Obviously, I grew up in the church. As you get older, you don't really, you know what I mean? But when you get older, yeah, that's how it all, for me.
Yeah.
Like when I noticed I needed to love myself more, it really was Jesus who came in.
Right.
When I get technical, that told me.
Yeah.
So, but I think when you have the experience with God, when you're born again, that's what they call it. You know what I mean? Yes, you definitely get a more. I mean, I had it before God. I mean, obviously he was involved, but when I found him, yeah, it was like head on.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you really get to see. He shows you yourself in his eyes. You know what I mean? You don't.
Right.
You're not looking at yourself.
Right, because I mean, like, who are you loving if you're not loving who God called you to be?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And that's why your life was in chaos and messed up. Yeah.
This is true.
That is true. Do you guys think self-love is selfish?
I think in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a healthy way, yeah, definitely. I think that sometimes you do have to, not do for others and really have to do and think for you and you alone. And maybe it comes off selfish. Maybe it's not actually selfish, but it can come off selfish if because some people are like really strict. Like some people will be like, okay, well, I got to take care of myself, so I can't be looking at you and what you doing in your business and da-da-da-da, and like really leave somebody out in the cold for real because they're self-loving. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that, there's a way to have compassion and to show care to others and still be like, but that's not healthy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it depends on the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really being selfish? What are we? Is it selfish because I didn't answer your phone call because I was busy doing something that needed something for me that needed my undivided attention? So I didn't answer your phone call, so I'm being selfish because I was handling my business. I called you back, or I plan to call you back, or I'm gonna text you. That don't mean that we're not friends.
That's true.
So I feel like there's a perspective to whether or not something is selfish, especially when it comes to taking care of yourself and loving yourself and investing in yourself, because the time that I take out to give to you, I could be doing something that is building me
Don't waste my time.
and you know, I could just keep being who I am to you every single day for the rest of my life. But even that person is not beneficial to you, even though you think it is because you're getting what you want right now. Even that person is not beneficial to you. So honestly, my self-love is helping you in ways that you don't even know yet. You don't even know. Maybe you might get cut off. I don't know, but maybe not.
And self-love is important in relationships too.
It is.
Yeah, because if you can't,
Definitely.
love yourself, how do you expect to love your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband, your wife? How do you expect to move in that direction in that type of relationship? Especially like if you get married, binding two people in one. I mean, you obviously have to already have self-love.
So before we dive too deep into that, like, what is self-love? Like, what are the things that you're doing for yourself that would have such a harsh reflection that you can't love somebody else? Like, what specifically are we talking about when we talk about self-love?
Not really like caring, like obviously caring for yourself, putting yourself, before others, not always just looking out for other people. Taking showers, no, seriously, basic
seriously.
stuff, basic, cleaning your house. People, self-love, hoarders, that's, that's self-love right there, taking
And
care.
hoarding, I was talking to a
Mentally,
friend
too,
about this.
mentally,
Right.
self-love,
Hoarding
mentally.
is something that happens internally too. Sometimes cleaning out all the closets is
It's too much.
very important to do.
That's true. That is a good question. What is self-love?
Right.
What is self-love to you guys? What is self-love?
I think for me, if I'm thinking about it in reverse, like, what have I been doing to hurt myself? What have I been doing that has not been conducive to my growth? And like, why am I doing these things?
Being in tune with yourself.
Right. Like, I really had to think about it from that perspective. Like, when, me growing up, and now I am super slim, and that it was a funny thing, like growing up, like, oh, this is a joke, and I would wear like baggy clothes just because I didn't want to try and put on anything tight. Nothing tight would really fit because it didn't really exist. So for a while, when we was talking about like just kind of wearing a title, for a while, like, I would just, wearing a title is more than just being called the funny loud guy. Like, you become the funny loud guy. You become,
There's no such thing as being sad.
right. Everything is a joke, or but for me, everything didn't fit in life. Like, nothing fit, and I was a failure at everything. Like, everything. And it was cool for me because people thought that was cool. If Dacia is skipping school, we gonna skip school with her because she's skipping school, and you know what I'm saying. So I would just skip school all the time. I never went to school. I did not care about school at all, and I was obviously high every time that you see me. Like, and that's just what I wore. Like, I wore that the life that I was in and the people that I was around. Like, I didn't fit with anybody. I didn't fit in with anybody. And I kind of just became a loner. That's why I didn't like going to school. I like going home. I'd leave school, be with everybody for a minute, go home, be home by myself, do everything by myself. Just because I couldn't figure out how to, connect with anything else. And that was just something that was really, really big for me. But I did have to pay attention to why I was so disconnected. Like, why did I choose to not be in school and be in those classes? Because you didn't think you were smart enough. Why didn't you think you were smart enough? That is harmful when you don't try to be your best self, whatever that may be. That's harmful to you. You're not loving yourself. So, I became a good friend. I'm a good listener because I didn't listen to myself. I wasn't connected. As much as I wasn't connected with the world, I wasn't connected to myself. So I became a good listener, and that was good for my friends. And because of how I felt about myself, that was also good for them because, they could feel good next to me. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so, I mean, I really had to think about how that was harming me to be the type of person that was going to be disconnected from everybody. And so that was kind of like my first, okay, this is like, I need to figure out how to change something and improve something and learn something and be somebody. Whether I'm connecting with the world the way that the world wants me to connect with them, or if I just be the best me and, inspire others. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was like my first step into learning how to love myself, was to learn how to take off what I felt other people thought about me and being that person. You know what I'm saying? That's super important.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was like my thing.
Because people will label you, and then once you feel like you're labeled, you're just stuck like that forever.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is amazingly true.
Absolutely.
What do you think self-love is for you, Emma?
Wow. For me, it was the realization of kind of mental and physical exhaustion after doing everything that I needed to do for everyone and taking care of everyone, and I had to realize that I needed to take and set aside time for myself. And for me, that has really been like, hey, give myself 5 minutes to wash my face. Give myself 5 minutes to moisturize and take care of my skin, or let me do makeup today because I want to feel that little extra boost of confidence in myself, or let me take some pride in my house today and clean up and do a little extra that I wouldn't do on a regular day. Let's spring clean because we can.
Right.
For me, that's been my realization of self-love, and kind of giving myself positive thoughts, taking a moment to like say, hey, you're not perfect, but you're good enough. Or like, you're beautiful, and like, God made you. So obviously you're beautifully and wonderfully made. You got to believe that. That for me has been a lot of my self-care and self-love for this year and last year. Very much.
I think definitely, because one thing for me, especially like with this podcast, with this platform, is this is a place for the saints and the ain'ts, like for everybody to kind of come together and have the conversation with each other and understand their different perspectives. And for me, coming from a place where I feel like I'm more so, like I'm in between the saint and ain't, I feel like I'm more down here like on the ain't level. You know what I'm saying? I'm still being worked on, as we all are, but I'm definitely still being worked on. But I definitely feel like getting on the journey with God changes a little bit of what that self-love looks like, because you can't hate anything once you learn what you were made for and why, you become
more friendlier, a lot more friendly.
Right. And, things that you used to irk you about yourself or that you didn't understand about yourself, when you understand it textually, when you understand what God says about it, it changes how you look at it.
Right.
It changes.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I feel like even that, like for people who are like still on that journey, who are just meeting God, who are in an active relationship with God, like there are things about you that God put in you on purpose. That there's a reason why you're like that. And so you have to learn how to love that thing. And that's a big part of self-love. Learning how to love the parts of yourself that are
love the growth too.
Ugly. Yeah. Definitely.
You love your past. You gotta love every.
You have to love your past. That is something I was just talking about this morning to myself in my head. I was like,
you have to.
You gotta like. It plays with humbleness, but you gotta know that you can easily be back where you've been.
The same way he gave it to you.
The same way he gave it to you is the same way that he can take it away. But you also got to know that where you were still blessed in that place. Like you got to be able to find. But
you didn't even know you were blessed.
You didn't even know it. You didn't even know it, and you got to be able to look back at that place. And
that's where self-love comes in. You know what I mean? We don't even know when you were in that situation. You didn't even know what self-love. When I look back on myself, I didn't even know what self-love was. If you would ask me that, I would have laughed at you. I wouldn't even know. What are you talking about? Like, I do love myself, but you didn't even know you didn't love yourself. Cause you didn't even know what that was.
Right, because you didn't even know that you had to. Like, You didn't even know that you had to. You know, I'm a Leo, so you know we are very much so in ourselves. Is what they say about us. I'm just saying. That's just what they say about us. But but I still don't think that was like I was really aware of like, oh yeah, I love me when I look in the mirror. Like, oh, I love this person. That I wasn't even a whole person back then. I was still. I ain't been. I've been through a lot, but I didn't realize.
You didn't listen to yourself.
Yeah, I didn't realize what that stuff meant
tune,
and what that stuff was doing to me, and it's hard when you're like young trying to decide whether you love yourself, right? Because
it is true.
There's a lot of things that people don't teach you about yourself. If you come from a broken home, you know, I don't know how many people.
Because they don't talk about that when you're in your household.
Right.
Exactly.
And something that's huge about coming from a broken home, something that I learned while just paying attention is you're made up of two whole people. So if you don't have those two whole people, you don't even know things about yourself that, you know, you can't even see a version of yourself. Like there's no picture painted, right? Because like sometimes I would see my dad and he'll do something, or like if my mom sees me and she's like, oh, you did that just like your dad, like then I'm like, oh, okay, that's where that came from, or that's what that looks like. But honestly, I don't have the whole picture because I'm not seeing my dad all the time, or my mom's at work all the time, so I'm not seeing myself in any other form. I'm just living this way. I'm just this person.
Right.
And you know, when I was younger, that was definitely hard because, like I said, I felt like I was 13, feeling like a failure. You know what I'm saying? I was a bad kid. I was just terrible. And, like, to be honest, the odds were completely, for me, the way that I've seen it was against me. And like I said, I didn't see any other picture because of the fact that I didn't have both of my parents present.
You're growing up tough.
Yeah.
You're growing up tough.
Yeah, so it's...
That's what I call it.
Yeah.
Growing up tough.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, at some points living like growing up like that, it sucks. And in some parts growing up like that in a broken home, it's good. It's good in some ways. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it.
Yeah.
So it has this...
I mean, it builds character,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
you know what I mean?
You know, when you buy a fresh pair of heels, you're easier to slip and slide because it don't got no, what you call it, no friction to it. So sometimes you get something else with some ridges on the bottom and stuff. Like, that's okay. Like, it's okay. So, yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying that people that come from a full family household don't have, you know, their own thing. I'm just saying that for me personally, the way that I experience it, it's hard to not be able to see the two people that brought you here, the people where most of your characteristics are going to come from. It's you don't know anything about yourself. You really don't. You don't even see it. You don't even know what it can look like. And growing up now, like I can see certain things. I'm like, oh yeah, my dad do that. Like you know what I'm saying? Because I've seen it more in almost 30 years. Almost, not yet, y'all. Not 30 yet. Than I had before. So that's another, you know, kind of big thing about loving yourself is knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, getting to know what makes you tick, but getting to know, once you get to know those things and what God says about those things, it changes what it means to you. Yeah. It changes what it means to you. Like something about me is that as lonerish as I like to be, like I'm hospitable. I work in hospitality, right? And I'm very like, you know, I like to make other people feel comfortable, and I can make myself feel as small as I need to be that. And I didn't know that that's what that word meant. I didn't know necessarily that that's who I was. I didn't know I was hospitable. But then I was like, who cares about being hospitable? Like, go work in a hotel and get paid and call it a day. But there is somebody had said, there is a gift to being able to make everybody feel welcomed. That's necessary. Like, that's something that's needed to make everybody feel like they can come to your house and there's something for them there. You know what I'm saying? Like, in God, what does that mean? If you can make everybody feel welcomed.
And that's how it should be.
Right? People who are empty, people who don't feel whole, people who don't feel like they are anything. they could still come to you and still feel like they're a human being. There's a trick to that, but I didn't know that that was something that I had. I didn't know that about myself.
Yeah.
It took me how many years to even figure out that that's something that I could do, or that's something that I do. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
They
I never knew I never knew I could pray the way I pray.
right,
I never
Terrence.
knew that.
Yo,
And I never knew
listen. When I heard you one time, I was like, "Wait, who's touching me right now? Like, who's praying like that?"
I never knew that until, I came to the Lord. And like you're saying, you never know who you are until he's ready. And and you get to that point in your life and he's ready to reveal it.
Yeah,
It will blow your socks off. It blew
Yeah.
my socks off. It did.
yeah,
I'm
definitely.
trying to put my socks on.
Still trying to get that together.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any more soda in there.
And that's self-love though, because when you start to now that I'm in this stage of my life, when you starting to know yourself, more and more now that I am, you know what I mean? All the stuff that I used to do, like I look at it like, what was I doing?
Right.
Like what was I thinking? You know what I mean? Because I was so much of this world, I didn't know nothing else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's big.
It blew me away.
Yeah.
It's still blowing me away. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I'm still getting blown away, like still trying to accept self-love and
Yes.
being okay with the fact that self-love is okay, and it is okay to be selfish for yourself
Right.
and to take that time out and just care about yourself enough to put yourself first sometimes.
Because sometimes
That's hard.
like you're desperate sometimes.
Yeah.
In situations, you know what I mean? You've ever been in a relationship and like this person's not right for you, but you're like, you know what I mean? I want to be with them, you're in a situation. You didn't even love yourself, but it's desperation. It really is.
Do you feel like you genuinely loved someone prior to having access to self-love because you didn't have access? Like you felt like you genuinely loved the person that you were desperate to be with because of whatever you lacked. Do you think that you really loved them because you didn't love yourself?
Oh, no. That's not what I
No.
know.
No. Like even now, if you think about that person, like you don't love them or you didn't love them.
I feel like maybe I did. Like maybe I loved somebody too hard. And
Too much.
yeah. Because of like that lack of knowing myself and caring about myself, I gave that love that I needed for me to another person. And that like destroyed me to a point where still finding self-love is hard.
How do you think that you can have self-love while you are giving love?
Again, giving your time and space, getting to know yourself more. I mean, I know it sounds stupid and give yourself 10 minutes a day.
Right.
But that 10 minutes can save your life.
You can't
Save
be
many
smothered
lives.
You know what I mean?
by in another person's shadow.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie,
have to
like
put
every time I
yourself
get dressed
out.
in the morning or if I get dressed in general, I usually lotion my body and stand in front of the mirror like, look at your beautiful self. I don't know if you guys but I do that. That's
Listen, I be just trying not to feel dry in the
like,
cold. I'm like, let me make sure I get that spot on my back that be always.
everybody has their own little thing they do. I mean, that's one of my little things I do. I definitely do that. Definitely. I have to, like, girls get their hair done. That's self-love. Making yourself feel good about yourself, making yourself feel like a human being.
Yeah.
Meaning, making yourself feel like you belong. You deserve to do this.
Yeah.
Because there was times where I didn't even feel like me getting a haircut was like, oh, I can't get a haircut today. Like, I didn't deserve it because I didn't even love myself enough, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, because you're looking at everybody else, but you're not looking at yourself.
Right.
You're giving everybody else your time, but you're not giving your own self your own time.
Mm-hmm.
And mental health is self-love also.
Yes.
It is.
That for me has been a big thing these past couple of years, just like giving myself the ability to mentally find myself and be stable in a place where I'm okay with me has been very important.
Yeah.
And before, if someone told you that, like, oh, are you okay mentally? You would look at them and, like, laugh, you know what I mean? Because you don't even give your time the time of the day to even, like, say, like, hey, are you okay? And it's okay to not to be okay, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's probably one of the biggest things for me to even admit it, like, I'm not okay.
Why do you
It's so
think?
hard.
Seriously.
Why do you think we wait as adults now, or adults anywhere in general? Like, why do we wait to tell kids teenagers, young adults about, like, why didn't we know about mental health outside of, like
Such a stigma.
like outside of
Yeah.
those kind of narratives of, whether or not someone's bipolar or, kind of like what it looks like. But like, why didn't we know? Mental health isn't just limited to the diseases that are
Right.
of those things. Like,
Right.
so I don't know why they don't teach that. Like, why don't your parents or your teachers or your counselors, like, what is a school counselor if you're not telling me about how to express myself, giving me access to expressing myself, giving me access to understanding, okay, I didn't just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you know what I'm saying?
There's
But
something
like,
underlying.
yeah, like I got mental things that I need to work on, and these things are keeping me from myself, keeping me from caring for myself, keeping me from being able to be genuine and nice to others. Like, why do we wait until we have quarter life crisis to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna love myself, I'm gonna take myself to the beach, like
But you have to hit rock bottom.
Right.
you
feel
have
like
to
you
hit
have
rock
to.
bottom in order to find yourself.
Same way as
But,
a drug
like,
addict. Yeah.
For as far as like my perspective and the way that I look at my life and how I was raised, there was never an opportunity to see mental health or even see self-care. There was never that moment where, oh, you need to be able to like love yourself, or hey, you're really beautiful the way that you are. You don't have to think about what anybody else thinks about you. You're perfect the way that you are. There was never that. And like for me as an adult and a parent now, like I realize these are important steps that we need to take when our children are young, and tell them while they're young, because then when they get older, they're not going to be as messed up as I am in the head, and like they're going to love themselves and they're going to take care of themselves. Like my youngest daughter, she's a whole diva, trying to put makeup on, get dressed up, look all cute. She feeling herself, she loves herself, and like I never had that.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you don't get it in school. You don't get it through the counselors. You don't get it through your parents. Like, where do you get it from?
And you don't get it from other kids,
Right.
you know what I'm
Even
saying?
if I did used to get it back in the day when I was younger, so you never used to believe it anyways. You'd be like, okay.
Yeah, like you had to tell me.
Oh,
Yeah, you
you're a
had to say that.
Yeah, like,
You're my parent.
Or like even like a guy will come to a teacher and say, "Okay, you're a handsome guy, stuff like that. You're a smart kid." You never really took it, seriously.
There was always like random people. For me personally, I didn't experience it often, but there was always these random people that are like, "Oh yeah, Dacia, you really pretty." Like, no, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not.
I think those random people are the ones that impact that much more.
That more,
because
yeah.
One day, literally, I was walking with someone, and they were like, "You're just exotic. You look exotic." And for me,
Yes, 'cause
that
you
was
are
like a
beautiful.
big boost, girl. For me, that was like a big boost. I was like, "Wow, exotic? What do you mean exotic?" I felt pretty that day. I felt good, you know what I mean? And like,
Okay, I tried to do something.
I'm big on, if I think you're gorgeous or you have something really nice, like my thing is I need to tell you. I don't care how awkward I feel after it, but I need to tell you, wow, you look really good today. I love your smile, or girl, your eyebrows are on fleek today. I know we don't use that word anymore, but
What do they say? What do they say now? I don't even know what these kids be talking about. Beat to the gods? Is that what it is? Was that what they say?
Your face is big.
probably. I'm so not in tune anymore.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
like,
that's
even people's intellect. Like, sometimes I just like listening to smart people talk. I don't care what you look like. That's me. I'm very big on, I don't really
Seriously.
care what you look like. You can look like however you want to look. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a version of you that maybe you don't even know, but like, it's very much so good enough and more. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like something that I'm very big about. It's something that inspired starting my magazine and just starting my platform altogether, is, seeing what people are good at and putting a battery in that, because they don't think that they're good at it, or they don't have the resources to be good at it. You know what I'm saying? Believing in themselves. Like, that's a big thing.
Self-love, yeah.
So real quick, I'm going to take it back to saying that self-love happens after you hit rock bottom. What does that say about what we hear about self-love in the church, when, you know, it's kind of like oh yeah, come to God and you'll be who you need to be in life. You know what I'm saying? You'll be good, you'll be whole, he'll fill those gaps for you. Like, what does that say about hitting rock bottom before you find self-love? Because I mean, like, if I went to Jesus when I was 13 years old, then I don't even think I would hit any of the rock bottoms that I ever hit. You know what I'm saying? Do I walk around with self-love all the time because I met Jesus at that age? Like, what does self-love look like in the church?
I think self-love in the church looks like, you know, you're a child of God and you're victorious. That's number one. When you're a child of God, you know, self-love, you're always watched over.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing, goes back to, you know, even if you was 13 and you went there saying no, it again goes back to self-love. You have to believe. You know, you got to believe it in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we didn't have self-love because we didn't even know what that was, so we never really believed in ourselves. So when people said nice things to us when we were younger, like we were saying, that's why we just took it as is, because we were like, I don't even know, we never had that love feeling before, like, what is this niceness, you know?
Yeah.
So again, in the church, I think, you know, self-love, you know, is just love. God is love. That's what I see it as. I see it as, you know, it doesn't matter what you have done or what you're going to do, God will always be there with you regardless. That's what I see self-love as.
Yeah,
Does
being
that
enveloped
change
in that
the, you know, come to him now moment? Or, you know, can it just be that I know that God loves me anyway? So when I hit rock bottom, I can call him then. Or, you know, that's where I'll meet him.
I mean, his hand is unchanging, the same as just is today. So he's always going to love his people.
Right.
Always.
regardless. Yeah.
Right.
And I know, like, for some people, and it was hard for me, like, you know, that's hard to, you know, believe that. Because you're not even seeing, you're worshiping Jesus for somebody you're not even seeing, you know what I mean? You're not even seeing this person that you're worshiping, you know what I mean? But that's the whole thing about believing and having faith, a good fight of faith, fight for your faith, you know what I mean? Because this world and everything's around you will distract you to make you feel, you know what I mean? Because once your hope goes and your faith goes and your belief goes, what do you really have left to hold on to? You know what I mean? If you're really looking for the change, you have to believe in yourself first.
Right.
And then the self-love will come.
Right.
And if you're really, really, really looking for self-love, you know what I mean? If you can just one day be like, oh, I need to love myself more, and then tomorrow you're back on the same stuff, you know what I mean?
Do you think that that in church they talk about self-love enough
No.
for the congregation, their
not at all.
congregation?
No.
I don't think so at all. I don't even think it's really a topic.
No.
It's just expected.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, today we're going to talk about how you care about yourself and how that's important in Christ and stuff like that. It's never a topic. In my 32 years of life,
Me either.
it has
I'm not
never.
He's like, I am not about to disclose my age.
Months, but I'm almost there, mate. I'm right behind you.
Oh my
It has
gosh.
never been a topic. Never.
And I think self-love for the church is more like, you know, victorious. You're child of God, so you're victorious. You know, stuff like that.
Telling you
understand what
about how
you're
you
saying,
can
but
be the way.
I don't think they see it as how we're talking about
How
it.
about we're
Right.
talking about it?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And
I mean,
again, what
because-
she's saying is expected. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Like, okay, if you come to Jesus, then why can't, like, how can't you love yourself? You know what I'm saying? And that's...
But like you said earlier, the same way he gave it to is the same way he can take it away from you. So always remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you become more of, you know, of a saint and stuff, there's no such thing as jealousy or none of that. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was of the world, you know, yeah, that was something. It's real. Like they say, jealousy is one of the worst sins. You know, it is. But when you become a Christian and all that, you know what I mean. You don't look at nothing's the same anymore, at all. Nothing really is the same.
Yeah.
Like I don't get those, you know, those urges or those feelings no more the way I used to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the same thing. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Like they talk about in church, you become more of a saint, you become more friendly.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a breakthrough for me.
Do you think that if they, you know, because I mean, I feel like they're giving tools to help you navigate. All in all, they're giving you tools to help navigate whatever it is, whatever your religion is. They're giving you tools to help navigate through that and find and build a connection with God.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that if they kind of poured into, you know, people picking themselves up from the inside out, you know, do we think that would help people be like, oh yeah, you know, I can believe and trust in God now more than I could when I walked in this door, because of the fact that I can see myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And you have more of an understanding.
I feel like that would help piece people a whole lot more faster back together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing when you go out for prayer and, like, they're like, you gotta let go of this and you can do it, or God says that you're beautiful, or, like, when God's talking into your life, that's one thing. But, like you said, if they're taking that time out to piece that together with you as a congregation, I feel like that'll be a whole lot more helpful in people's personal growth with God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would make the world of a difference.
Yeah.
I know it would have made a big difference in my life.
Yeah.
So.
If you went to church and they spoke into who you are and helping you see yourself.
Right.
Because I feel like that makes it hard in believing in God, something that's untangible to you, when, like, you feel untangible to you.
Right.
You have no hope.
Yeah, because sometimes you go to church and you feel like God doesn't love you. And stuff like that. Yeah,
or you're not even good enough.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or the world is too big.
Yeah.
For God to be like, dealing with what you felt, what you went through on Thursday.
Yeah,
that's how I be
so
feeling. I be like,
people.
Like, it's, and a lot of people do this, and it always makes me laugh personally, because the way that I think is like, God don't care about that. Like, he can't care about that. Like, you got how many people on the earth? You think God cares about the fact that your boyfriend broke up with you on Thursday and that's too hard for you to handle? Like, God don't got time to care about that. That's just how I feel.
Problem.
Like, when I pray, all I do is ask God for the tools that I need to get through the things that I got to go through. I don't ask him to fix those things. That's just me personally, because I don't feel like he would. I'm just me. There's how many other billions of people on the earth? I'm just me. There's nothing important about me. I'm not going to be Beyonce tomorrow. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, what is so special about me that God is going to make sure that whatever problems, whatever minor inconveniences are going to stay out of my way? You know what I'm saying? That's super hard to navigate. And like you said, other people are like, God can't love me. Nobody loves me.
I feel so insignificant in this world.
Right.
Yeah.
A blip on this big planet amongst many others. Like, so how am I supposed to love myself and trust that something else that I can't see loves me too?
It's like looking up at the stars. They all look the same. Which one is the one that you see the most? You don't, because they all look the same.
Right.
One might look a little bit brighter. But are you that bright star or not?
Right.
But that's another thing with self-love too. You were just saying
Right.
with as far as prayer goes, like for me, I learned that it is okay to self-love enough to ask God for things. For me, it was like, I'm not going to sit here and ask God for anything. Like, I can't ask him for stuff.
Right.
Who am I to ask him for
Right.
anything? Like, I'm
But
going
that's
to
what the
just
enemy
give
would
you
do.
praise,
He would
and
do
that's
that.
it.
Right.
That's another, like you said, it's a tactic. It's the mind is a battlefield, and I don't think that it's expressed enough in the church.
Right.
How true and how real that is. Like, that's where you're fighting, in your mind and spiritually. It's not a physical fight. I can't go out there and fight a demon right now. Like, I'm gonna go find you and take you down.
Right. Right.
It's crazy.
That is very true.
Self-love.
That is it. Prayer
It's self-love.
is self-love.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Everybody cannot do it.
No.
I can't.
It's just like you just.
I can't
It's
do it the way
hard.
that it looks. This is what I'll say. I won't say that I can't pray, because I don't want to. I don't even want to call it that.
Yeah.
But the way that it looks up there on the pulpit is it's not that way for everybody, and
It's
that's
really
okay.
not.
But you still got to figure out how you can do
Yeah.
that, because that's gonna be a major staple in your relationship
can
with God, your
incorporate-
relationship with
yeah.
yourself, the fruits that you're gonna see from your prayer. Like,
Yes, yeah.
these things are all very important.
Like, it's another thing. Like, communicate prayer as on your knees and having this deep
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
ability to like
That's what I was gonna say.
verbalize these words that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that verbiage. I can't come out with this like. I talk to God and I learn to accept that it's okay to talk to God like I'm having a conversation with Him.
Yeah.
Like, God, I can't do this anymore.
Right,
You
like-
have to take over.
Mm-hmm.
You take control because only you can.
Yes.
You have the way. And I
Sometimes
learned
it's just
too,
me,
using the
like,
word.
just talking to myself about something and just, going through something, inside myself and starting to reveal something about it. And I'll be like, God, that's you, though.
But
That's
prayer,
on
Yes.
you. Because
that is prayer.
that is
You can
prayer,
physically sit
right?
in
Because-
silence. You can physically sit in silence. You don't have to say a word.
right,
He knows your heart.
right.
He knows
does.
exactly who you are. Sometimes
Exactly.
prayer could be crying. Sometimes prayer can be saying just Jesus the whole time. That's His communication with you.
Yeah.
And Him. It's a relationship that you guys have.
Exactly.
Everybody's
Like
relationship is
that
different.
word that we heard a few Sundays ago. He hears you.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to say a
You know
single
what?
word,
You know what
but
I'm
He
saying?
hears you. He knows
Even
you.
sometimes your tears that's communication
crazy.
towards Him. He knows exactly. When people are crying out and you wonder why they're gasping and stuff, or they're
Yeah.
like, all over the place, that's their communication with Him. That's their relationship. Even speaking in tongues, you can't understand it, but you know when you speak that tongue, you know exactly what you're saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? And other people don't.
Exactly.
Prayer is many, many things. It's not just on your knees and
Right.
your head down. No, it's none of that.
Right.
You don't have
But
to scream and
that's
shout.
gonna be another conversation. but prayer is self-love. That is definitely
It
a
is.
big part of
You're watering yourself. You're like a
getting into
plant.
yourself. Getting in tune with God is a big part of self-love because of the fact that we are in His image and in His likeness. So,
He meant everything back together. Every little piece.
yes,
Pieces that you didn't even know that were broken. And He'll come to your remembrance and you're like, whoa,
yeah,
I didn't even know that bothered me.
right,
You know what I mean? Yes. Trust
right. Things that you was just like, yeah, and then something happens and you just start going in on a rant or like on an angry tangent about like this one thing that you didn't even know even bothered you because of the principle of it. You know what I'm saying? Because of what it meant, what it said about you and the people that you kept around you. Not necessarily the situation itself, but definitely. So, yeah, having those conversations and asking God to take away those things that you keep, the things that you hoard in your
I was
mind.
just about to say hoarding it.
Right. The things that you hoard in your mind to attack yourself.
Yeah.
That's not how you love yourself. You can't love yourself if you're thinking about what Jerome did to you how many times, and every single time, you in an okay space, you just start hurting yourself
about it
thinking
all
about
over
that
again.
again.
And a lot
Brand
of
new
people don't
wound.
like heal the situation. They want to they get hurt and then they just like, okay, I'm gonna get in another relationship a month later.
Can't even heal.
But you haven't even healed from
Heal,
the last.
exactly.
And that's again loving somebody else for self love. You can't love.
You can't even
you're
love
still
yourself.
hurting from
Exactly.
the-
Exactly. That is so true. That is so real.
It is. It's a full circle, baby. I promise.
It
you.
do come full circle.
It really.
And to be honest, that very same pain is the thing that you keep, that's the very same lesson that you keep learning because you won't close that wound. You won't let that wound heal.
won't even
You
let
want
them
that
heal it.
wound closed.
Like she said, there's dry bones in the church. You know what I mean? There's people that are holy and sanctified. They've been going to church for like 35 years and they don't have no type of self love. That's why they're nasty and ignorant. You know what I mean? In the church, I mean it goes both ways.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're not taking care of themselves. They think that because they did come to church and they have been a certain type of obedient and all these types of things, that they are okay. You know what I'm saying? That they're higher than that than thou. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like holier than thou, right? Like they think that it's all good because they come to church every
But
Sunday.
we all need Jesus, all of us.
Everybody.
But
Everybody.
are you doing the work of coming to church like are you doing the internal work?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Have you been doing what God told you to do for real?
Exactly.
Not just come to church on Sunday, but I mean
in
like for
church.
real. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like that is
Are you being obedient and obeying the Lord?
honoring.
Sometimes when you're in church, they call for a prayer offering, and the Lord is tugging on your heart to go up there. You can physically hear Him, and you're like, no, I'm not going.
Yeah, no, I ain't going up there.
You know what I mean? Are you fully doing
And
His work?
outside of the church, like even on the road, you know what I'm saying? God tells you to be good to somebody out there on the road. That's not my business. That's not what I paid my tithes on Sunday, so I don't got to do no more community service.
Do you love yourself enough to do right?
Right.
That's what it comes to.
Right. To do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the right thing doesn't look like how it's portrayed. You know what I'm saying?
That's
it
true.
doesn't look like
Yeah.
a Gucci Prada bag, whatever. Like, it don't look like
No,
that.
There's gonna come tears and
Sometimes
pain.
it might break you. It might take from you.
Mm-hmm.
But
the peace that you get from it all after it's all done, it was worth everything.
doing God's work is
Yes,
is
it was
but that's
worth
like the next level. Like, you have to self-love
Yeah.
before you can do what God is about to call you to do. You need to self-love. So, you know, a lot of people are talking about, how do I get to that next place? I've been praying to God, I've been manifesting and putting out good energy and going to church every Sunday, or watching the calls now, because, you know, we don't really go in no more. But, like, how am I going to get to where I think that I should be, and why isn't God getting me there? Well, first of all, you're not going to get where you think you're going to be, because that's not how God works.
Amen.
A. B, if you're not where you need to be, if you haven't given yourself the love that you needed to, you didn't get the knowledge that you needed to, and you didn't learn the lesson or heal the wound, you're not going over there.
And you gotta wait.
You're
gotta wait
not
like
going.
everybody
Yeah.
else.
You're not going.
They just preach.
Right.
Everything's coming up right now. You have to wait. You're in
You
the,
have
there was
to.
a prayer, matter of fact. Yeah, you have to wait. You have to. You have to wait.
You're gonna have to wait. Yeah.
It's the waiting room. You have
You
to
can't-
wait at
you
his
can't
feet.
go there.
Wait. It could
Right.
be years from now, next month, tomorrow. And some people, everybody's time is different. So like, if we praying for something, I'm over here, and you praying for the same thing. I'm praying for Anne-Marie, and her blessing comes first. You know what I mean? And then when she gets blessed, and then your spirit becomes nasty, God don't like ugly. You know
That's
what
called
Now you gotta
envy.
wait longer.
Envy. We're gonna talk about that too.
I mean? And that goes back to self-love. Like, do you love yourself enough that you are happy for your sister? And you know what I mean? That's I'm just
Amen.
saying. I'm
Amen.
just saying.
That's a
Right.
good thing about this pandemic. God gave us time to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We look at it as like, oh my God, people are dying. Yes, people are dying, and it's a big, serious thing, but we're able to take time with our families and take time to ourselves now. And we have to be able to appreciate that and take that time out for ourselves. Like, we need to do it, period. But now that you have the opportunity, even more so.
Yeah,
Take
definitely.
that time out for
It's not as
yourself.
slow as it was, but it's still.
No, but she's right. Like, this pandemic, it has pulled people out of their comfort zone to a
Yeah.
point where, like, you have to self-love yourself. You have to love yourself now.
Have to.
You literally have no choice.
So it's gonna
Because
go
everybody's
crazy.
just dying. Everybody's falling. They have no hope. People don't know what to do anymore. People are dying left and right.
Yeah.
But you have to love yourself. It's
Yeah.
no other way. Everybody's going through hardship right now, so you just have to just self-love yourself.
Right.
And before, when the world was open, you know, you have all these options. You know,
Yeah, all
options.
these distractions.
But the Lord didn't want options. He's trying to tell you
He's
to
trying to-
sit still, figure yourself
Yeah.
out. But everybody think they can just make a phone call and change everything up.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to you waiting and praying, you know, waiting and tearing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that goes back to self-love. Everything's so now is so self-made. Like, it's like microwaving food. They don't want to put it on the stove, but they want to put it in the
They want to put it
microwave.
in the microwave. Right.
They
Right.
want everything right now. They don't want to be hurt today. They want to be happy today. So they,
Yeah.
they think they can
They're
change
thinking that
that,
they can,
and-
if
but
they
your
can make it
plans are
look
not-
good on
yeah,
Instagram,
your
then
plans are not God's plans.
we're
you
feeling
know?
good online. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's not. And on top of that, on top of it being, you know, it's a quiet time to love your family and love yourself and make time and room for yourself. It's a waiting time, as Terrence said. You gotta wait,
You have to.
but you also have to make room for God. That's self-love.
And the one that endures to the end. Amen.
Yeah.
It's a fight.
It's a fight.
Like she said, it's not a
It's
physical
a
fight like where you
literal
can go
fight.
outside. I'm talking about spiritual fight inside.
Yeah.
And that's what I did not understand. You know what I mean? I didn't fully get it. You know what I mean? I didn't fully get it. But like, you know, they say put your work clothes on. It's true. You're always have your work clothes on because you never know. The enemy's always out and about. Same way as the Lord doesn't
And
sleep. The enemy's
The
always
thing
out.
is, like, the enemy doesn't even just look like a devil lurking around your house. At the end of the day, somebody could just speak something into your life that stays there forever because you keep it there.
Seriously.
The devil never have to come back to you after the one time that he came to you
It's
and
that
said something,
simple.
and spoke something into your life.
He's a hustler. He's a jokester.
You know what you're
He
doing?
knows what he's doing.
He been doing
You
this.
can make things look so beautiful. You'll fall right in love with it. The most beautiful thing before your eyes. The beautifulest thing. And that's yeah.
or you think. But
that goes back to
Okay.
that goes back. Yeah, that's what he does.
That's what it is.
He deceives.
Right.
He's a liar.
And you didn't stop to listen to yourself,
Self-love,
to your
again, that
intuition,
goes back.
to what God had to say about that thing. It just looks too desirable to turn away.
It's always a hook at the end, baby. Always a hook.
Yes.
And then once he got you, he got you. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about being a Christian too. You know, I'm starting to learn. You know, these days, you know, I'm going through my journey. You know, the enemy knows exactly where to hit you. And what I mean exactly, I know he knows exactly what to do to you. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but he knows exactly what to do to you. You know what I mean? And that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to give up. Because once he knows that you have given up, there goes your faith. It's out the door. You ain't coming to church no more. You ain't praying.
But guess what?
You know?
Guess what? When you give up, what God was gonna do through you, that's gone too. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't even think, you think that, you know, okay, I'm giving up. I don't gotta try no more. It's, you know, I'm gonna just be who I am, be in this situation, be in this relationship, or whatever have you. And there was something on the other end of that you are not going to see.
And it was a fight, and it was a test.
Yeah.
And then you got all riled up. The enemy got you all riled up, messed you all up, and you just gave up. But the blessing, your blessing was just right there around the corner. If you just took a couple more steps. But
not just your blessing, too. We always think about it as ours. It's not just ours. It's what God needed to be done, too.
Amen.
Because there was other people on the other end that also needed to be inspired, infected. Inspired and affected by what you were about to do, what you were about to bring forth. And like for creatives, like my form of self-love is to do that thing that is inside of you to do, that God told you to do. That comes naturally for you to do, because that's being used for a bigger purpose and you don't even know it, because you've given up on the other end. You don't want to fight with this job no more, so you know you throwing your hands up, you letting your pride show. Right. And giving up doesn't just look like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna stop doing this. No, letting your pride show, letting your anger show, something that you've been working on for so long. You know what I'm saying? Your attitude. Once those type of things start jumping out of you, you lose opportunities that you didn't even know was on the other end of that, because you wanted to be fresh, because you wanted so-and-so to know that you is not the one to play with. But that was the devil playing with you, and you got played anyway.
Self-love, you got to know yourself.
So you got to know yourself.
You got to, I'm telling you. You got to. In this game, in this game with the Lord, you have to know yourself. It is a fight.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
It is serious.
Definitely.
Like, it is serious. Like, it's so serious. Like, you know? And you have once you in it, you in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people take it so lightly, but it's really not something
it's really
light.
Not. It's really
it's not. Especially
and I was one of those people, and I can sit here and say that I was one of those people. You know what I mean? But when it really happens to you, it's going to blow you off your socks.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
It still blows me to this It still blows me to this day.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not. I mean, I'll definitely say I'm way early in the game, but like I'm ahead in the game just because of how long I've been in church. But like also life, like my rock bottom was still like pretty. I feel like it's pretty recent, and I still feel like I'm pretty. I could still be very ain't-ish when I want to be.
We all can.
Yeah, so
no one's perfect.
I'll definitely say that it's still pretty early in the game for me. But even I feel like when it's early in the game is when you got to take it very serious, because of the fact that now the devil knows that you're choosing, and he don't.
He is upset.
He don't like that.
Mad.
That means that he lost somebody. So he need to get you while you're hot. He need to get you while you're still good. Like, oh, you thought that you wasn't gonna go to the club no more? Guess what? Vaccines for everyone. Vaccines for everybody. Now everybody's talking about, oh yeah, we gonna go out, we outside, like, and that whole drinking problem that you thought that you capped. You know, like this is your war now. Like this is your battle, because he knows.
Go
you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You gotta know sometimes what's a blessing and what's a lesson. You know, and that's a part of it. Yeah. That's a huge.
Because when this happened, he shut everything down. Everything got shut down. But that's how the Lord works. He'll shut everything down, not just in the United States, the whole world.
The whole.
And that's how you know it's God, because he will shut. It belongs to Him. This is His. He's the one who created it.
Right.
The same way He gave it to us, is the same way He can take it out. You know what I mean? No one's paying attention where you're supposed to be paying attention. I mean, there was so many times that he tried to get his attention. I'm pretty sure there's many of times in our lives where the Lord tried to get his attention. We never really paid attention. And you don't think over the years and over time, like, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, the anger of God, you know, pestilence and all they talk about in church. You know, that's pretty much what we're seeing. And everywhere you look is a sign of the end. Everywhere you look.
They've been talking about the end time since I've been born.
I know.
So
but it's so like
my entire life.
Yeah, but it's so like
we definitely got to talk about that. We definitely got to figure out.
And that's true, but it's so nowadays. It's so like it's so real and it's so in front of your face.
It's so
like
prevalent.
The most bizarre thing you could think of in your head, it will happen. You're like, what? That happened?
Right.
How old were they? Like, 12. And they're like, oh, it's fine. But in people of the world, like I'm not saying we're different, but like people of this world, that's fine. And I'll be like. No, it's not fine. This is not
that is
fine.
Not
like,
okay at all.
Where's help? Like, why is no one doing anything to change it? Yeah.
Yes. since we got there.
Do you guys watch The Chosen?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
The Chosen?
I think I only watched one and I forgot about it.
Did I tell you about it?
You did.
Yes, The Chosen. Yeah.
What is that?
It's like it's showing the Bible. And like in the, like a little script,
but like on TV.
Yeah, but it's like realistic. They like break it down. It's like an app. Go, I'll show you.
Oh yes, I think you was telling me about that.
Yeah,
yes,
it was
he
in
was.
The group
and season
text
2,
yeah,
season 2's coming out pretty soon.
Okay,
I
okay.
watched it? I feel like I watched it, but I just forgot.
Yeah, you probably did. You probably have it on your phone still.
I mean,
you shared it.
No, because this is a new phone.
Oh, then it's free.
Yeah.
If you already signed up, it's free. You know, if you download again, it should automatically.
That's
season
crazy.
2's
Oh
coming out.
yeah. You were telling me about that. Yep. Okay.
And Mary and Magdalene, they called out the name and how they were in the other boat with the net. They just preached about that. Cast your net out one more time. That's what he was talking about because he wasn't catching no fish all day. And Jesus said, "Yeah, I love The Chosen." It like breaks down the Bible for people to understand. So a lot of people don't understand, and people don't know that because some people they want to become Christian or they want to become, godly people, but they don't even know what you're talking about. They don't know nation, none of that, none of those basic stuff that we know. They know nothing about the Holy Spirit. That's like foreign to them. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you have to be willing to learn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because if you only come to church on Sundays, then you only get a sermon. You don't get
that's not enough
prayer meeting. You don't get Bible study. You don't get like the extra fellowship with the leaders.
And we used to do Bible study. Remember when I got baptized, we had to come. Before when we first came to church at Harvard Homes,
Yep.
Before you got baptized, Pastor did not play that. You had to come like 2 hours before the service started. And we did it for like 2 months, and then we finally got baptized. I actually got baptized with your sisters.
You did. You got baptized
together
with my sisters.
We did that for like 2 months and a half Bible study. It was like you had to be there. So
yeah.
And that's when I started realizing like this Sunday thing ain't enough for me.
Yeah.
It's not. Like it was still like a hole, inside me. And then when I started coming to prayer, I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. This is it. This is what's been not there. This is it. I don't know, like, how you haven't been yet, but, people, like, for us, like, we will run here. I'll be at work, like, oh, my God, I had to get out of here. Cause I get out of work at 6, so I get at, like, 6:30. So they're already here. I'll be, like, flying down here like a bat. Like, I'm like, move out the way.
Me and Pastor were talking about that, how it, like, before we get here on Thursday, it's, like, such a... I can't even describe it. It's just like, I need to get there right now.
She almost wrung my neck one time because, she babysits.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting my oil changed. She's like, it's almost 5. You need to get here now. Listen, when I got to my house, the baby was taking a nap. My grandma was outside the door waiting for me to come through the hallway. I gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm already late for church.
It's just a prayer. It's just so... I just think it's such an intimate time with the Lord. If nobody ever experienced an intimate time, I don't even know how to explain it and put it in words to you. It's like He's physically here with you. Like you can just fall into Him. You know what I mean? And everything's okay. You know what I mean? And then everybody's just crying out, shouting out. And when you're in prayer can take you to places that you didn't even know that, they call it the spirit realm. Take you to places that you didn't even know that was physically you even thought in your head.
Right.
Sometimes you be so much in prayer that you forget that sometimes I forget I'm even here. Until they say, oh, it's over, I speak out of prayer.
Yeah.
I'm like, we over already? Like, we're not done yet.
We just started.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And sometimes it gets so powerful, the Holy Ghost will just take over. and you just don't even understand why you're crying. You're like a mess, boo-hoo crying. Like a mess. But that's the thing about breaking. He'll break you gracefully. He'll continue to break you. He'll stretch you, break you, and stretch you. You're the clay. He's the potter. He's molding you. Sometimes it hurts. He'll chisel out a spot, and you'll be like, "Whoo, I'm still healing from that, Jesus."
Yeah, I didn't even.
I have to do it.
I gotta work that out
Let it
for
Yeah, because it's not gonna heal if I don't chisel. Come on, if he has to chisel at first for it to heal. So that's why sometimes you go to church and you hear like someone preach and you feel like they're talking about you. You know what I mean? About certain situations, is because you haven't healed from that yet. You know what I mean? You know something in church. You go, oh, wow, you know they gotta bring it up.
Here they go.
Here they
Right.
go. It's because you haven't healed from it yet. You know what I mean? But once you heal from it, it doesn't even, it doesn't really bother you the way it used to.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
When they mention certain
I've
things.
been in situations where they knew your situations and they preached about it on purpose.
And that's why I always tell people, always be careful of what pastor you pick, and always be careful. Sometimes when you're going through stuff, a lot of times you don't have to tell, I'm not just saying our pastor, but just in general, you don't have to tell the church. It's not really your intention to tell church. It was just for you to tell the Lord. You know what I mean? If there's such leaders and such powerful people of God, they should already know what you're going through. They shouldn't even have to ask you. You understand what I'm saying?
Bishop,
And it's not,
how
yeah.
we call him, he does it all the time. I'll be like, get out of my house. I tell him that every Sunday, stay out of my house. Mind your business. Why are you talking about me? And he's like, I don't even know your life.
There's been things
Nobody does. I don't tell people my
me
stuff.
Either. It's been times with Pastor where I started this prayer when it was just me and her.
It's amazing.
She has said things to me that I have never ever told any. Like I have never even told another soul. I mean things that I didn't even know that no one even knew. To a point where I was like, what? Like I even in the middle of the prayer when she was praying, I said, what? Like it stopped me in my own tracks. Yes. You know what I mean? And that's how you know if the Holy Spirit is in that church. That's why.
Absolutely.
That's why you gotta be careful what church you go to. That's why they talk about when you go to church, you don't feel the Spirit of the Lord or you don't feel the anointing of the Holy Spirit.
You need discernment.
Get out.
Yes.
That's not. You have to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you shouldn't have to tell them anyways, because they should already know. Especially your shepherd of your church or your deacon of the church or the bishop of the church. They should know exactly what you're going. They could just be able to look at you and be like, hey, you know what I mean? And like Bishop, especially like our brother Powell too.
Because
they to me all the time. He'll make me all messed up in my spirit. And I'm like, how do you know all that?
But like essentially they're intercessors, so they're the part where
the
Lord can speak to them and you can't hear him yet because you aren't in that place of your faith.
Oh, sometimes he won't even let you hear it. He wants to make sure that you hear it from them.
Yeah.
Because it's from him.
Right.
He'll do that too. He likes to play games. God be playing games. He knows
People don't know. People really don't know who God is.
To give it to you.
People really don't know who God is.
And a lot of people don't like coming to churches because, the word is truth. You know what I mean? And some people can't handle the truth. So when you get pulled aside or someone says something to you like that, speaking some truth in your spirit that they know about, a lot of people take that as like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just tough love. That's what God is too. Again, people don't know. He is tough love.
Yes.
He'll let you do certain things because he knows it's not good for you, but he just wants you to learn. And he knows in your mind it's not good for you. But he'll be like, oh yeah, go ahead. He knows what he's doing, but you'll learn your lesson. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just what it is. It's tough love.
But that's how you learn about yourself. That's how you learn about yourself.
And how you gonna preach about things that you haven't even
experienced
yourself?
That'd be driving me crazy. Like I be thinking about that sometimes, like because it feels that way. Like when you go to church and you see people that are up there preaching about how it looks so easy to them to believe in God. Like you ain't been through nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I've personally experienced speaking to someone who kind of was in the world a little bit, then they came to Jesus a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then, the chest came up and that type of behavior was like a little bit more prevalent, and it was just like, but you don't even really know, anything about anything. So, but those people have been through things, and it just looks easier because that's how God works. That's why he can't let it scar up because nobody's supposed to see it. Like it's not, you're supposed to be flawless. You flawless when he's done with you. So nobody's gonna see your scars. And when they see you and you're telling them, oh yeah, well try Jesus, or it's gonna be okay, you being optimistic, like this person doesn't even know what they're talking about. They've never been through anything in life. Seriously. Like I've been through things in life, but I came out on the other end victorious.
Without being touched.
So,
Burnt.
you know what I'm saying? And this is what it looks like when you make it on the other end of what you're going through. So that's why you got to get up from what you're going through and come
Pick up
over
your
here,
bag,
because
pick
if
up
you
your
don't,
bag.
then you're going to sit there looking like how you do, looking like someone.
Looking at the hell you're going through, you're gonna look like it.
That's why it's
Right.
so important to share your testimony, because somebody needs to
A man that's
hear
free
it.
is a man that's free indeed.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Come on. Amen.
Yeah.
And nobody would
so
never
important.
understand your praise. You know, like I keep bringing back everybody's relationship with God is differently. Like your praise is not the same praise I have. You know what I mean? I didn't start praising God because of the same reason you praise Him. So I would never
Right.
understand your praise. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You don't understand why we're all here. Everybody's here for a different reason. The church is for the broken. It's like a hospital for the broken. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why you're here. You know, I don't know why she's here. I don't know.
Yeah.
You would never understand my praise. Because you never been through what I have been. You never experienced of what I experienced.
Yeah. And we do not have the same calling.
No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're all, working together for God's
One
good.
body of
Like,
Christ.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what I'm going to do
You're not a preacher.
over here may
Yeah.
not be what you are going to do over there.
The
And
hand
everybody's
can't
not
do
a
the foot's
yeah.
job.
And everybody's not a preacher, and everybody's not a, an evangelist, and everybody's not
Right.
a deacon, and everybody. Sometimes people are just people of God. That's just what they are.
Right.
Some people are just meant to sit.
Yeah.
Some people are meant to
But
clean.
everybody is not,
yeah.
Everybody doesn't have that calling or that anointing. And a lot of churches do that too. When you go there, you meet them and you give them a little bit of your time, they be like, oh, now you preaching. Like, no, I'm not. No. And the Lord told me, well, you go back to the Lord, you tell him that, because that's not what the Lord told me. And that's where you have to stick up for your own self, and you have to be confident
You
in the
have to
Lord that you
advocate.
serve. You know what I mean? Having
Right.
his wisdom that he's given you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And say, hey, this is not what the Lord told me. Don't make people start laboring you, because that's not, because if they do that to you, they expect that from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not who I am. You know what I mean?
You have to
You
take
know
a
who you
stand.
are in the Lord. Once
Yep.
you're anointed by God, you know who you are in the Lord.
That's when you
When
make that
people are
space
saying
for
stuff
him
to you,
to.
you're like, oh, that's not who I. You know what the Lord has called you for.
Right.
Trust me, you will know. Trust me, you know.
Right.
He'll make it known. Trust me. Like even before I started praying at the church, I didn't even know. I never used to pray like that at home. I used to always have like conversations with myself and stuff like that. But it was like a week before, like my mom. Obviously, my mom. You guys know my mom. She's a Christian woman. Always have been on my head. We pray fooling around, not fooling around, but out in the open and stuff like that. But it was right before I came when Pastor called us way back. Remember, she texted all us on Facebook telling us to get. It was like an emergency. We all have to get here. I thought something was going on. I'm like, what is going on? I didn't even know I prayed it, but it was a couple of days prior to that I was in my room and I was praying for like 3 days straight in my closet. Like I couldn't stop. Like I don't know what came over me, to a point where like I even asked myself like, am I okay?
Right.
Because I wasn't familiar with. Like obviously, my mom prays every morning. All my life, 5 o'clock in the morning. That's normal. You know what I mean? But I've never actually, and it was right before I came here for those, that happened to me. And that's when I knew, I was like, the Lord is definitely bringing me somewhere, because he was literally just, like, everything that I thought I knew, it was just, everything was getting flipped. I was going in closets praying and stuff like that. I was just praying. And it was one time I was here with Pastor, just me and her, and, and that's when it all happened. And that's why I thank Pastor every day, because she did it the old school way with me. Like back in the day when your parents were growing up, they used to bring them to church and they have that you can't leave until you catch the Holy Ghost. You know what I mean? Tarrying and stuff like that.
Revival.
Yeah, that's the old school. But that's the old school. Like back in the day, my mother, when she used to go to Brooklyn and stuff and Queens and stuff, that's how they used to do it. They used to sit in the church. You ain't leaving until you catch the Holy
Yep.
Ghost. Don't stop until And a lot of people, they don't. And that's why I thank Pastor every time. Like she did it the old school version with me. And I thank her for that every day. Because I don't think if it wasn't that way, then it would have been no way.
Right.
Right.
Okay. And I think that way is more better, because you're actually looking for God yourself. Her being a shepherd, she just stands beside us. She's the interceder, like you said, you know what I mean? When that happened in church, it wasn't, it was because I was looking, you know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously, she brought me here. She was helping me, because there was some things that I didn't even know. But once you get there, you was there. You was there.
And not every pastor or every leader is for you too. It's always good to link up with a good
Yeah, you have to.
somebody who.
Because if they're not feeding you the right way spiritually, then it's not gonna work.
And that doesn't mean necessarily go to another church.
No.
But that means maybe you and the pastor don't talk that much, but maybe you and the bishop, y'all speak, y'all have a good conversation. He happens to know how to speak into your life.
Amen.
Differently than other people, and that's okay. As long as you're in a place that's spiritually progressive, and everybody is
And you're willing to do it.
Yeah, everybody's willing and
Don't just do it because you're just doing it. Do it because you love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you saying, take care of your anointing. That is serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just like now that I'm a prayer and all this, I can't do the things that I used to. That's not gonna happen. It's not that I won't do it; it's that I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just not even in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't even really know how to explain it to you. That's how you know it's you know when it's real.
Yeah.
You'll just know.
Yeah.
It's just things that you cannot do anymore. Like,
Right.
There's certain things I can
Period.
not. Yeah, like it's not even in
Period.
my mind. The way I used to think about it and stuff, it's not even with me no more. Like I don't even know when you talk about it, I'm like, what?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I used to do
and like
that.
they say, when you find the Lord, you find joy. You know what I mean? You really find joy, just pure joy and pure peace. He'll give you peace.
Right.
Like it was times where I haven't always been holy and sanctified. I used to be on the other side of the tracks. You know what I mean? But I still have a bridge made up for my people that I'm praying for. To get to the other side. It's not even when you get to the other side, it's not easy. So I don't want people to think like, they don't know the Lord and they're trying to get the Lord. It's going to be all easy and peaches and apples. It's not, you guys. He never said it was going to. And that was my understanding. Like, when I come here, it's going to be easy. It is not. That's when the work really starts to begin.
And there are people who go to church, every special Sunday or, a few Sundays out the
Holiday
year or
services.
after the heartbreak or whatever the case may be.
I lost my man.
And you coming in here looking for, I don't know, something, but you don't even know what you're looking for. And to be honest, you don't even really care. You don't really care what God can do for your life. You just come in here to feel better and to not go through what you're going through.
Trying to avoid
but
the
you're
feeling.
not trying to offer yourself as a vessel.
Right.
So therefore you leave here empty.
Just the way you came
the
in.
same way that you
If
you
not
came
more
in.
empty, because you're like, I was looking for something. And
Yeah,
it
I was looking
wasn't
for something. I
there.
didn't get it. Now I'm hopeless. Now I don't believe that God can do anything for me
Right.
because He didn't do anything for me just now. But you didn't come.
Because they think when they come here, all they have to do is just stand here.
Yeah,
But
cry a little bit, wave your
no.
hand a little bit,
This is
come
like-
up for altar call,
This is his
maybe
house.
drop a 5 in the
His
bin.
house. His house. You didn't even call his name yet. You haven't even.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not talking about screaming like Jesus. Like I'm talking about this. Did you say Jesus in your mind? Like Jesus, do you?
Yeah.
Did you have a moment, an
Mm-hmm.
experience with God? Some people don't even want to take that. They fight against that feeling. You know what I mean? That's your flesh. They don't even want to like get down to the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Their flesh is too much in the way. They're in their own way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was my problem too. I was in my own self way. Sometimes you don't even want to. It's real, but then you don't want to do it because you're just your flesh. It's your flesh. It's just standing right in
Think
your
about
way.
what you have to let go of.
And trust me, when all that's over, you're gonna laugh and you're gonna be like,
Listen, like what was I holding on to?
nothing.
Why was I still trying to talk to that man?
Baggage and weight.
Why do I want to hang out with these
Mess and
friends?
drama. Yeah, it's
The
no
DJs
opinion.
don't even play like they used to play
Right.
no more.
No.
Like ain't nothing at the club. Like
And I already did all that. I can talk about it now because it's funny to me. But I'm at the point in my spiritual life. You know what I mean? I've been to every club. I've been, you know what I mean? Like I did all of it. You know what I mean? Trust me, I know I ain't missing nothing. You know what I mean? And I know in your mind, and that was my thing too. Like I'm gonna lose, all the funness and stuff like that, all my friends. But when it's all said and done, it's literally worth every. And I know to you, right, when people that are not of God yet, like they haven't had a relationship, it sounds like, oh, this boy is crazy. But it's really not. You know what I mean? It is not like when it happened. You have to like physically tell these people you're not friends with them no more. It literally just, I don't even know how to explain it. The Lord just takes control. It just stops. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, I haven't spoke to them in like
however
months.
long, and you have.
But then you physically see them on like social media and stuff like that, like, oh, they're partying again. And you start thinking to yourself like, whoa, that would have been me. You know what I mean? You really see yourself in the past, like, that was me. Because sometimes when you're inside, looking from the inside, you don't see what people are looking from the outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where it comes in, like, oh, you have a drinking problem. Like, but when you're in it, you're like, oh, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm
But
good.
you've been drinking every weekend. You just drunk last Saturday, you're drinking again. Like, But to us, that's party. You know what I mean? That's partying and having a good
That's
time.
having a good time. You can still.
And
function.
I know, like, obviously I wasn't an alcoholic, obviously I wasn't either. But I'm saying for other people.
But I was partying hard. I'm not gonna lie. I could handle.
But there's some of your friends that are partying hard, like the same way you're partying with them, and you're taking it as fun. And I can speak of this because this happened to me personally. And there's people some of your friends that actually have alcohol problem, and you didn't even realize it because you was partying with them every weekend.
Yeah.
And you decided because to you personally, you thought like, and you knew I knew I wasn't an alcoholic, so I thought like, this is not like, this is just, but it really is a problem for other people.
Yeah.
And you don't, and it's happened to me, like 2 of my friends, and I didn't even realize until like I stepped out of, like I looked from the outside in, and I'm like, and now they're like, oh yeah, I have a drinking problem. Like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, we know.
Like, you be drinking on Tuesdays? Like, really, Tuesdays?
Tuesday, 9 a.m. and
Are you not at work? Where's your job?
Yeah, like you don't have
Like,
nothing
you know
to
what I
go
mean?
to.
You know, I mean, or if you don't have a job, then you need to be focused on like
Do
looking
something,
for a job.
school, something.
Yeah, because drinking is not gonna bring.
And
you
people
nowhere.
like really throw their lives away. That's the thing. I think the part that becomes
With
for
the
me
whole
the part
relationship
that
and sex and finding a new person and
Yeah.
finding a man. It's all when you club all that lifestyle. That's a part of it.
So
you
the
know?
way that like I think about it, like especially like when you think about when you reference it in like kind of like the church aspect, is for me the part where it becomes a disease, the part where it becomes alcoholism, or drug addiction, drug abuse, things like that, is what you are willing to give up
Sacrifice.
for this thing.
Sacrifice.
So if you think about when you come to church and you're like, I want God to fill me, but like what are you gonna give up to give room?
Because you're already
what?
full with so much
Right.
stuff.
You gave up a job so that you could go out and drink at this time, or you gave up studying so you could be out here smoking at this time, or you wasn't taking care of your kid so you could be running after this man at this time.
Right.
So what are you gonna give up to feel whole?
Or even like when women or even men with girls trying to fix that same old relationship. You know they ain't not good for you. You know that's a talk. But are you trying the same way as that, trying to be in a relationship with God?
Right.
That is my question to people. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
You
What are
putting that
you-
same energy to get that car when you know you didn't have a
Exactly.
car. You put that same energy. It doesn't.
Nah.
That's what I'm saying.
People are trying like, and
That's what I'm
that's the
saying.
part where it becomes disappointing, because if you come into church like, oh yeah, no, I just want God to make me feel good, but I still want to
No,
keep
that's
this,
playing church.
keep that,
Yeah.
hold this, be this way, have an attitude. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody to play me, but I'm gonna still be with this man on this side, and I'm gonna still be drinking and smoking and partying. I'm gonna still be hateful towards people and
That's a big
expect
one, yeah.
something good to come towards me, just because I want people to be envious of what I got. Those people.
Yeah. And even envious, even in God, it blows my mind because everything that you get from Jesus Christ is free. So what is there to be jealous of?
Right.
I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Like, I know we're talking about it, but when I think about it too, like, what are we?
Right.
It's all free. We're not paying no fee. You pay a monthly fee. Like, everything
Yeah,
is
no.
free.
Pay a membership fee.
And that's what I was just talking about earlier, like, and that's where I think people need to start talking about in church too. Like, if we're all praying for one thing, like, you know what I mean, if we all have this goal, if we all wanted to be like entrepreneurs, just in general, you know what I mean, and we were all praying for the same thing, all three of us, and let's just say she got her breakthrough first, you know what I mean? Are you not gonna be happy for your sister that's in Christ? You know what I mean?
Right. But that's
Where it is that. That's why when I see certain stuff, I be like, "Are you sure that's God?" Because if that was really God, you know what I mean. You should be happy for your brother or your sister in Christ.
Right.
You can't be throwing them down because they got the blessing first.
and if you're not, that means that you still have something that you need to work on.
and you need to heal from. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's something that you still need to
And
heal.
you're looking
on.
at
That
other
means
things
something-
for
right.
validation, and you should be looking at yourself.
Out yourself. That's a big thing for me. That's a big thing for me.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I like when you learn that what is for you, something that is for you, that belongs to you, is your life. It was given to you. So what's yours in it is yours. What you do in it belongs to you. You got to stand on your own too. You know what I'm saying? You looking at left and right for everybody to make you feel
Yeah.
whole. You're looking at what people have
It's
to
not
see
gonna
how you
work.
can get it so
It's
you
gonna
can
make you
feel
more depressed.
whole. Like
Exactly.
More depressed and
more
sad.
depressed, more sad.
Because it's a spirit of jealousness, and you're
Exactly.
looking at everything else to validate you, and you're not looking at yourself.
You're
It's
not.
not going to work, and that's again the spirit of envy, the spirit of jealousy. It's
Yeah.
all right there, it's right in front of your face.
I'm very much so spirit of envy.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. Like when those things are displayed, like those are the people that are really looking for validation. You know what I'm saying? But how do you have validation without purpose?
That's true,
You know what I'm saying? And who's validating you?
right?
What certificate did these people
know.
get to be like, oh, you're good enough?
Entitlement.
Why?
I know.
Who is
Why?
that person?
And
Who
that-
are they?
And that's why you gotta love yourself,
So-
because if
Right.
you don't, you're always gonna be looking at other people to make you feel like
That's what I should be.
That this is what I should be, and
Nope.
this is what's going to be good enough for me, and this is how I'm going to get to the other end.
Who do
and-
you want God for you to be? You know what I mean? Have you ever asked
Right.
that? Like, you know. But they always say, "Oh, I want to be this," but what does God want you to be?
Right.
People don't even ask that. So
I don't even think people even look at themselves to know what they want to be, much less they just want to be what
they see.
they see. They just want to.
And they don't even know. And the things that they're seeing, they don't even know what it is.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know what that costs.
Serious.
They don't know what it costs.
Seriously.
That's the biggest part. People want it, but they don't know what it took to get there.
Yep, and they
And
try
then
to.
when they get it-
struggling
and
with
when
a
they
little
speak-
bit, they can't handle it.
And they'll speak out against you. Like, say you are the person that they're
Oh,
like,
they
oh
used to be
yeah,
my friend back in the day trying to get up on my
yeah. They'll bring back
But
your
the
business.
same way you talking like that, the same way he gives it, he can take it away. So watch how you handle it.
Exactly, and it's just like they will try and tear you down to see if you'll get down to that very same level with them. Like, oh, you think, nah, she must have definitely did this thing because there's no way that she is this, that, and the third. Or
Blurriness,
she has to want what I got because there's no way that she's happy over there without it. She has to want this. She has to want the car I drive and the friends I got. She want to be me so bad. You know what I'm saying? Like they speak that into you because they don't feel good, and that these are the type of things that validate them. The people around them, the man that they got, the friends, and the car that they drive. They think that you want that because those are the things that make them feel whole. But like that doesn't make me feel whole because God already told me that's not for me.
Even doing this podcast is like you have to, like, I don't know about you guys personally, but like, you know, you're digging out stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and you're growing. So like some of the stuff you're digging out, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So enlightening.
Like, wow, I really do love myself. I really do have self-love. Seriously, because before, I would never, you would never,
Yeah.
I would never talk about these things with anybody. I would never even talk about it with my parents, like, to myself only. You know what I mean? So that's just to show that, I have self-love. I grew because you would never,
Yeah.
you would never hear me talk about
Yeah.
stuff like this.
I mean, you have to.
You have to grow.
You have to.
You have to. And I didn't realize, you don't even realize that when you're not growing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
when
you're looking at, you're so
stagnant.
focused on everything else. You're like a dead plant without getting watered. It's like no water at all.
Yeah.
You're not, and then you're so like, when you're like that too, and you don't love yourself, or you have no self-love, you're so bitter and ignorant, and you don't even know how to ask. You don't even really know how to ask for help. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. I'm trying to think back to, I'm trying to get in my mind of where I was at in that time. You don't even know how to ask or even ask for help.
Yeah.
You don't even know what help is, to be honest with you, because you've been doing it all yourself. Okay, that's what I'm.
Dad, Terrence.
That's what I'm nervous about. That's why I don't want to. No, you're gonna do that. You do it. You do it. I'll do the intro. You do the outro.
Oh my goodness.
You got that.
Well,
I
we
still gotta
hope-
work on the intro, sis.
We will hope that everyone was filled to some capacity with the conversation, is able to, invest in themselves and love themselves. Wake up in the morning and remember that you're a child of God, and anything that belongs to God needs to be taken care of, needs to be
Amen.
treated. Do your nails, do your hair, take a shower, clean your house, talk to yourself, learn about yourself, watch your favorite TV show, paint. If you're an artist, invest in your art. Just these are things that help you learn about yourself and love yourself better. So
Every day.
please take care of yourselves, and we will see you on the next episode of DAT Fellowship.
That fellowship.
DAT Fellowship. Yeah, you already know.
You already know.